Matchup best of 5 here today in this takes Penthouse Party number 3. The bottom right hand side of the map, our blue Terran player from Motorsports is HeroMarine. And to the upper left, our yellow Zerg player from Splice, it's Solar. What's up, Tuxarino, coming in with the Twitch Prime sub as well. How are you doing? Thank you for the support as well. Do appreciate. Get some love in the chat for the Twitch Prime sub, guys. I see some Wardy hearts in there. It is indeed central. I'm going to spam some Wardy hearts while you have a few moments, guys. Wardy hearts all around. Wardy hearts all around. Apparently both players are going to be playing with a lot of ping here on Central for whatever reasons. As we get this set up and ready to roll, resuming the game. Let's just go from the start again, shall we? Let's just do these intros again. I don't like it when we get interrupted and we get stuff on the screen and all sorts. So on the right hand side, our blue Terran player from Motorsports is HeroMarine. And he is up against the yellow Zerg to the upper left. It is Solar. HeroMarine was stomping through his groups yesterday. Didn't drop a map on his way through to the playoffs. Very impressive performance from him. He came through, initially he came through Optimus, and then he went through Mana. 3-0, 3-0. Very, very simple. He also didn't drop a map in his first group stage, taking down Fear and Bly in the process. In fact, he's the only player so far to have not dropped a map in this tournament. We'll see if that is going to change here today. Again, Hurricane and Reno currently tied up 2 apiece. Solar came through this group after a loss to Hurricane. He did take down sort of Drogo on his way through Group B. Wasn't a perfect group for Solar, especially losing out to Hurricane, but looked pretty good when he's playing against the non-Koreans. So we'll see if he's going to be able to perform here and move through to the winner bracket semi-finals, where he would play against Sarah. Sorry, momentary death. I'm a little bit ill at the moment, guys. I've had a bad cough since I came back from Turkmenistan, and it's definitely not better just yet, put it that way. So if I do kind of randomly mute out of nowhere or something, it's just because I'm trying not to die on stream. I do apologise for the effects it might have on the cast. So the setup here initially is going to be a bit of a drop play, Wouldn't and Marines, while we see a siege tank follow-up, so perhaps a secondary drop coming in as well, a second medevac on the way up. HeroMarine is one of these Terran players who really loves to play the technical builds, who really likes to find certain positions and so on. This is interesting because generally the position you take on this sort of setup is this position here, but a Spore Crawler in position already. And a third hatch coming down to the south side also, so HeroMarine, that's just going to drop off and push in towards the third base, I guess. And we're just going to be seeing the Wouldn't. Not going to get to go off on anything but a queen, which is not too exciting, honestly. Spore Crawl just waiting to get a chance to burrow, and as it burrows, of course, that Wouldn't will indeed go down. I guess he's going to try and protect it here with the Marines. He'll lift it up, try and pull it back. Doesn't happen. Doesn't quite manage to grab the kill on that queen either, but a nice attempt. A nice little something of a way to try and make this work out. Again, a few more Marines just setting up now down over to this left-hand side. And yeah, that tank base follow-up. Another medevac on the way too. There's a lot of medevacs that are coming out here really from HeroMarine. And as he picks up, I guess it makes sense, right? 2 medevacs, 2 tanks, 8 Marines, and across the map he goes. This becomes a very powerful push actually. A few roaches on the way from Solar at the same time, so he is responding to it correctly, making sure he has enough units set up as these SCVs were powering up on the supply depot. A few Marines dropping down, and again, it's going to be seeing these medevacs going to start to unload the tanks. Whereabouts will they siege? Will they go up to the high ground, or will they just siege right here? For now, he actually doesn't want to siege up at all. He's just going to keep them unsieged. Those tanks still firing away quite nicely, actually. Actually, if the Ravagers coming in not sieging might have been the better option, because obviously then they're sitting ducks. Now everything's just going to load up, and HeroMarine backs away with just some slight damage done. Very, very passive way to play what is a fairly aggressive build order overall. As we do see those medevacs going to come back through and towards the center of the map. Medevac over here from HeroMarine moving around as well. Excuse me. He's going to be coming on all the way over to the left. So Medevac going to come all the way over to the left-hand side. Resetting up and seeing what's going to happen. And the few Marines just unloading. Another Medevac from HeroMarine coming up to the top to see what else is going to happen to you. Oh, we'll just get popped off. And again, just a nice little pickup back up to the high ground here. And try and do something a little bit else. Good harassment in general, right? HeroMarine just keeping Solo slowed down. He's kept him at a very reasonable work count, so he's not really been in an eco advantage or anything, which is what the Zerg tends to aim for in the early stages of a game. HeroMarine just a little bit slow to respond there, and that's the first time we've really seen HeroMarine slipping away in these earlier stages of the game. Little mistake, as we do see +1 vehicle weapons on the way up on the armory. Aliens running on by, and they're going to be roasting a whole bunch more drones already. And this is nice as well, just keeping Solar pinned back. And actually dealing quite a lot of damage too. 10 workers go down for just the one Hellion. HeroMarine behind this with that +1 vehicle weapons we mentioned before. Obviously going to be playing mech. And so the more damage he does now, the more difficult it'll be for Solar to slow him down in the later stages of this. I love this, just the fact that he can't land this base in the correct location right now, so he just lands it nearby. So at least he can mine a little bit of gas while he's waiting. Fade SCVs did fall though, so good damage actually done overall by Solar. Making a little bit of a comeback for the damage that was dealt to him on the other side. Blue Flame now on the way up, some extra siege tanks as well, and Solar's still just going to go for a Ravager based play to help him out with this. +1 missiles, +1 carapace coming on through. And as those upgrades continue to set up here, well, we'll see what else is going to happen. These two Medevacs are going to load up the Hellbats. And they'll look to keep on dropping around. Overlord in the main gets pushed away, gets killed off. More tanks popping. And Hydra Den coming up as well. Bane that's too. So again, going to see that kind of Hydra Bane way of dealing with the mech armies. Something which has become more popularized over the past month or two. I think Rogue was one of the first players I really saw was kind of doing this against mech, but really has become one of those things that pretty much any top level Zerg will be fairly comfortable doing right now. We saw, for example, yesterday in StarCraft Kings, Snoot against Innovation. Snoot was using a Hydra Bane kind of playstyle into Ultras later in the game. I mean, that's how the playstyle works out. You go Hydra Bane, and you switch into Ultras later on. Worked out quite well for him. You're going to see these Logos one drop down, deal some damage. Oh, a couple of tanks on attack move are actually going to stop and fight rather than continue to just run away. Meanwhile, Roach is running in towards the natural expansion. Quite a lot of SCVs going down once again. 14 workers killed. And Solo is again the player who is doing quite a lot of damage and continuing on in this. There's a couple of Banshees still just sat overhead. Queen's pushing forwards and Banshees have to pull backwards. A few fours on the way up from HeroMarine 2 right now. I'm just going to be seeing those Hellions of HeroMarine coming through the south side and seeing where he can end up. Hellions moving on over to the far left hand side here. Again, a few more Hydras on the way, muscular augments as well, Bane speed. All the bits and pieces from Solar coming on through. Plus 2 mech weapons as well in the armory. Let's see, this Overlord going to load up again, and 4 Roaches. We're dropping in towards the natural expansion in the next few moments. We're actually going to see a Queen going down, and again, those Hellbats still creating quite nicely here. And well, I would have thought he would target down some more drones, but he's actually doing a good job against, well, the Ravager and the Hydras as well, I guess. Nice damage done here. Everything cleaned out eventually, though. As we see the 4, plenty enough to deal with these Roaches counter-attacking. Another wave of Locusts coming down. They get a tank or so. That'll be about it. Although maybe he needs to be a bit careful about all these tanks he is losing. So far, HeroMarines, I think it's lost 4 or 5 tanks. Yeah, 5 tanks down. And that's a lot to lose throughout the game, right? So you're going to see those Marines lifting up again, just popping up to the high ground. Obviously, Marine's not something he really has much use for in this stage of the game. They have no upgrades, stim, combat, none of it, because he's playing mech. But just still nice to keep on the map as a way to kind of keep some map control, if it only requires his APM to do so. Just, you know, basically finding use for those units until the very end, I suppose. And again, for now, that use is to I'll clean up some Overlords and bits and pieces like that. It all adds up. Hive is on the way down in the main base. Spire about halfway done, plus 1 melee about to finish from Solar as well. wave of Swarmhost coming out. I actually haven't really seen the War Chest Swarmhost skins yet. They look pretty mental, don't they? So yellow. So many spikes. Alright, some Hellions up to the top side. Just going to find themselves, well, I mean, 1 or 2 drones. Maybe a built-in Spine Crawler as well. There's some okay-ish damage. I mean, he should just back away now before these units clean him out, because otherwise he's just going to be losing units for no reason. He's just a little bit late to do so. There's a couple of things here so far this game where HeroMarine's been having good ideas and good movements, but he's just been a little bit late on a couple of other things, and just kind of throws away some of his advantages that he gains from the nicer things that he's been doing in the game. And Maxed Out Solo moves forwards, setting up in towards Hive Tech behind this. Army coming down through the center, positioning itself to attack from the left in towards the third. Alien's running around and kind of shut down these Zerglings at the very least, and actually that's going to be Solo taking an opportunity to move around in a bit of a different location. Oh man, these Logos are going to drop down on top of these 4s. Well, maybe not if they clump up like that. These 4s actually doing quite a lot of splash damage, and well, 2 Hellions will go down, but that will be all. Not really a worthwhile trade by those Swarm Hosts. So Solo backs off once again, and Mech Army's starting to move out towards the upper side a little bit more confidently than previously. Ultra Cavern is dropping as well right now. Setting up in towards that. Just another kind of stage of attack here. Medevac can fly around too. Hellions, Siege Tanks from HeroMarine are setting up and going to get ready to push on in towards the third base here also now, over the next few moments. Well, those creep tumors just going to be finishing up. F4 coming in, just get lifted up and just going to be kept safe, I guess. A few Hellions to the south side. The creep spread very nice, so we're going to see, ooh, well, this is interesting, right? Because HeroMarine's going to take this position up here. There's not a lot to really kind of get rid of, kind of high ground positions, I guess, from Solar. I guess he's got the Sword Host, which can help break through this position. There's a few workers going down. Meanwhile, the other mech army is going to start making its way to the left-hand side. Solar taking his time to come in and deal with this, especially because he's mostly waiting for some Locusts. Those Locusts are going to start dropping down. Hellbat's not really in the best positions to help out those siege tanks. I mean, he gets some damage done against this, but not a lot. Now the rest of the army moving over to the far left, looking to hit this gold base perhaps, which is fairly heavily mined out already, so it wouldn't be the biggest of issues for Solar to actually lose this. But obviously he wants to stop the mech army from continuing to push upwards into this base and then into more aggressive and stronger positions in general. Again, the Swarm Host on cooldown. It's not a lot that can be done right now. We're going to be seeing this army continue to push on forwards, and just as it does, just going to bring up that Raynor and Hurricane game. Hurricane's currently on a push forwards towards the fourth base of Raynor to be able to push him down. He's got Tempest up against the Brood Wolves as well. It looks as though Hurricane's going to be closing out that series with a 3-2 victory in a few moments. But back to this TBZ, because Logos are coming on down, and this main mech versus Zerg fight is beginning to set on up. The Hydra's pushing on through here to clean up towards the very end, and oh, nice pick up on the 4. It's cute, but it's still not enough. And Solo will be the player who remains to be maxed out here, and will be cleaning up against HeroMarine, who really doesn't have that much left at all. Again, that was indeed Hurricane just about to basically close out that game against Raynor. That one's going to be ending in a moment or two. Just going to be seeing the few Banes coming on over and looking to see what else is going down. So Swarmers set up into the skies again, going to keep on trying to push forwards here, but I think this really might just be a little bit too much. You'll see the Sea Shank's going to get taken down as well, and just going to be seeing the SCVs also getting picked off. And it's going to be, well, pretty much the end of game number 1, I think. And that is looking to be GG's. There it is, Hurricane. And Solar taking the game just at that exact moment. Solar goes 1-0 up, and Hurricane takes his series 3-2. HeroMarine, as we set up into this. So on the right hand side, our blue Terran player from Mouse Sports is HeroMarine. And to the upper left, our red Zerg player from Splice is going to be Solar. Don't understand why people call them free. Stormhost costs money. Yeah, that's true. The thing is, like, over time, obviously, the Stormhosts get more and more use out of them. Maybe, I mean, okay, maybe it's still worthwhile to kill 2 Hellions for nothing, right? But it's not. But then the issue is it's not worthwhile if the Terran does something different. Maybe I would have been better to say it wasn't the best trade for the Swarmers. I don't know. I still think it's not worthwhile to kill just 2 Hellions because I feel as though there's a potential for more damage, and that you're opening yourself to counters while your Swarmers are then on cooldown. So I'm gonna stick by what I said. Anyways, let's go into this. Setting up, ready to roll. Pool coming down. Hatch gas pool opening in the early stages. So getting ready to roll. Looking to see what will happen here throughout the course of game number 2. Abyssal Reef, another map where mech is definitely a viable option for HeroMarine. Remember that all these players coming into the bracket today have already got $175 in the bag. More money to be run as you advance on through. So 7th to 8th place get $175, which means if you get knocked out and loses round 1, you still go home with $175. You make it through to at least losers round 2, you get $300, which means that players in the semi-finals are already guaranteed $300. Move on through to the top 4, you get $400, 3rd place $500, 2nd place $900, and 1st place taking home $1,600 overall here in this tournament. We've seen the Overlord moving around. We're going to see what's going to happen. I think speed's going to be finished up in just a few moments. And the starport on the way up as well. Green on the way out the main base, 3rd hatch coming down also. Really, again, nothing too crazy early. Once again, a medevac opening, so HeroMarine looking towards that Widowmine drop, and we'll see what he does with it overall this time around. Again, 3rd hatch will finish up in just a few moments. Continue to set up here. Tech Lab is going to finish on the factory, and that will be able to lift on up. Move on over towards the reactor. And the barracks is going to land down next to it. Starport will have access to the Tech Lab now. We'll see what exactly will come from that. Obviously, then a different opening to the last game where we saw kind of the double tank drop coming in afterwards. This time going to be Cloak Banshees, Hellions, and all sorts in the other stages to follow up the Widowmine drop, which will be the first wave of pressure from HeroMarine over the course of the next few moments. As medevac comes up to the top side, getting into position and seeing how things will go. Meanwhile, of course, it's all eyes on Solo to defend this properly. See how he kind of want to play this as well in the next few minutes. You can see that Widowmine does just burrow, single Zergling. And of course, there's Widowmine to unburrow and reburrow here. I think will actually not kill the Widowmine, but the Widowmine also doesn't kill the Queen. And this Widowmine will get taken down now. And the medevac flying away on low HP doesn't really have much of a chance to stay in position and to do much more damage there. Lair on the way up in the main base. We're going to be seeing the Bane and Nessus dropping down the back of the natural mineral line as well. So Bane and Nest does drop on down. Fury is still pushing around. This time Stimpack does start on up, so it's not going to be the mech continuation or the mech follow-up. It's going to be a bio-based playstyle. As you're going to see a few Hellions trying to poke in, but Queen's in position. He's not going to take the dive. He's just going to keep those Hellions nice and safe here in the early stages. We're going to see those Marines just getting lifted up again. Just going to be seeing them again. The Ling is just going to pick off a few more Marines. Again, another Raven coming up to the top side. Going to be seeing this auto turret to be thrown down in the back of the natural expansion in a moment or so. 1-1 upgrades coming on through here. Again, the Lair has just finished up Lance Solo to go in towards the main text choice of this game. Whether that's going to be a Hydra Den or a Spire, well, we're yet to find out. Maybe he bypasses both and rushes fast Ultralisks. A lot of variety nowadays in TVZ. It really has been something that's been the case since the start of Legacy of the Void, and I think it's one of the best things that's changed. in terms of Legacy of the Void, because TVZ always used to be this one matchup where there was one set of build orders, and that was kind of it. Zerg was more or less forced into Lingbane and Muta every game. There wasn't a lot of choice past that. It was, it really was kind of one of those situations where, the Zergs were kind of pigeonholed into their build orders, and the Terran were kind of pigeonholed into their own build orders as to what they went to do. And, we slowly saw meta transitions in towards, mech and so on, and that became a thing for a while, etc., etc. But the overall thing is that, obviously, what was I about to say? The overall thing is nowadays there's so many different compositions that can be viable from a Zerg. There's so many different ways to get there. You can go double upgrades, you can play a single upgrade. You can do the same sort of thing as Terran. There's different ways to get into that early, to get into that mid game. It's really nice to have some variety in the builds of this matchup, which allow us to kind of see just differences into what usually is one of the people's favorite matchups going into the mid games. Marine straight out here, you're going to see the Raven just overhead. Not really going to find a chance to drop any auto turrets or to add to this fight, really. HeroMarine just going to get pushed away. Solo well positioned in general. And an armory on the way up to get ready to go in towards 2-2 in a few moments' time. Still pushing though, and I like the fact that Raven is here. Gives him the chance to get rid of some creep tumors without having to drop the usual scans. There's too many units here realistically though from Solo, and HeroMarine can't really contest this creep too much further. I mean, the creep's already fairly limited, honestly, in the center of the map. This stage of the game is, 15 SCVs on the third. That's huge. Well, let me just finish my thought. First of all, I mean, the creep usually is maybe expected to be a bit further forwards in the center of the map at this stage. I mean, it's okay on the left side, but there's not really much more HeroMarine can do there. But 15 workers going down. I mean, it's just it's not an early stage of the game really anymore, but, 15 workers going down is always something that's going to be painful, and especially when it happens just at the 8-minute marker. That's definitely going to slow things down here. As we're going to be seeing this medevac going to get pushed away, a couple of them getting pushed away. I'm just going to be seeing these Marines just going to be continue to stand up and see what else they can do. One Marine going to load up, pop up to the high ground here. 13 more Banes on the way up at the moment from Solar. +1 missiles, +2 Carapace. Continue to come on out. Queen still poking and prodding. Lingus, Banes, and Hydras coming down the left-hand side. A couple of Widowmines going off. Not really doing too much. Again, pulling away down the left. HeroMarine trying to escape here and trying to just back away a little bit more. Still more bio coming up from HeroMarine out in towards the center, and we're going to be seeing him now starting to push on forwards a little bit. Maybe a few seconds he can start to work his way through. Widowmines could indeed grow if they wanted to. HeroMarine again, a couple of nice trades here. I see Solo just kind of not where he wants to be. Going to be falling backwards and just taking 3 damage in that process. Upgrades 1-1 against 1-1. Still have to switch into missile upgrades after the +1 melee rather than going into +2 melee. So we getting those Hydras set up to do a little bit more damage. The auto turrets will now come into play. He's been waiting a long time to drop those. They'll add a lot to this fight, of course, but will it be enough? Because Solar is steamrolling his way through this army. The answer is no, it's not going to be enough. GG. 2-0 lead. Solar is going to be on match point. Let's get ourselves back into this series. HeroMarine versus Solar. Best of 5, game number 3. It's match point for the man to the bottom right side of the map from Ascension, well, not from Ascension Dire, but on Ascension Dire from Korea, representing Team Splice. It is Solar. To the upper left, our blue Terran player from Mouse Sports. It is HeroMarine. Opening with the Reaper Expand himself here on this side of the map. We'll see what Ascension Dire will bring us. So far, Bio hasn't worked. Mech hasn't worked. It's been a bit of an interesting one up until this point. So set up, looking to see how things will go as Overlords start to spread across the map. See a Reaper coming through the center as well. Just some bits and pieces of setup here in the early stages. Just to give you some updates of what's going on in the other matchup happening right now. Mana versus Hearthstone is currently playing in a best of 5. Game number 1. Game number 1 where currently Mana is just winning out basically pretty heavily. He's going to be doing a good job picking off a whole bunch of bits and pieces. He's up in workers, up in army. We're down in upgrade, so it's not over yet. But anyone's to play for there in that Protoss versus Protoss. We'll keep on bringing you updates from that series when applicable and when we have the time to fit it into what has been some pretty hectic TVZ so far in the main series we've been watching. A couple of links coming on in and already from the get-go. Some action here as the Reaper comes in to defend these SCV and to get his command center on the way up to finish here in the next few moments. Hellions will be the play then from the factory. It jumps onto a reactor, and we're just going to be seeing the starport on the way up now as well. Marines is looking for an overlord here in the early stages. We'll actually push it away from the high ground, and well, I guess obviously with the barracks here, he'll be guaranteed the kill anyways. Obviously this is time where the barracks isn't producing anything though, so that is the weakness, but it does get an overlord kill, and so the supply block does come on down. And actually just a quick moment or so there, guys. Not sure what happened exactly. Maybe we can just see the last few minutes of this game between Hearthstone and Mana. Okay, so I mean, we saw not really much to show on the screen, actually. We saw that Mana was kind of just getting ahead from the fights that he was taking, and very much so just being able to use that to force Hearthstone out of the game. Hearthstone just continued to die to harassment there, so Hearthstone and Mana going to be 1-0 in favor of Mana right now. Now, winner bracket quarterfinals. Winner of that does play a Hurricane, remember, in the winner bracket round of 4. Guaranteed at least $300 if you make winner bracket round of 4. If you lose your 2 matches from that point on, you will still finish top 6, and you'll be still getting $300. So, again, you know, obviously taking 2 days to get here, but now in the money, and that money does start to rack up quickly here in the in this event. In the takes Penthouse Party number 3. Took a moment there to remember what event we were casting. Hellions poking forwards, doing a little bit of damage to the Queen here. Raven on the way out. As we're seeing this Marine just going to work his way through the overlord. And we're going to do just a little bit more. And a few Hellions going to poke on in. We're going to see that Spore Core taking a little bit of damage as well. Going to be seeing the medevac pushing up to the upper side, and again just looking to use some bits and pieces with the Italians here early. Overlord coming through the top side. It's going to be a Nidus network from Solo to try and bring us to an end here in this series. And we've seen the Nidus and Roachroar setting on up. So going to be seeing the single circle coming over to the left hand side here as well. Have a little bit of a look to see what's going to happen. Single Zerglin pushing on forwards will be nibbling its way through into the natural now. But, I mean, the Nidus on the way up. I mean, the Zerglin's actually so important here because it will give him some vision to drop the Nidus. He does have an Overlord here as well he can come back in with. HeroMarine will see it. Now, HeroMarine's setup is not the best to deal with a Nidus attack. Hellions, Ravens, you know, all the turrets, etc. are great, but they're only going to be there for a limited amount of time. And now Zerglin's already going to be poking at the front to bring some units out of position. And HeroMarine just has no response at all right now to these units that are going to start popping out in his main. Zerglins are going to jump on those Hellbats as they start to transform, so a little bit of free damage he gets. One of them could have got 2 if he stuck around. Anyways, Queens and Roaches in the main base, and what do you expect HeroMarine to do about this? Didn't see it coming, didn't set up against it. GG. Solo takes game 3.